now hand over to Kamar Oyenuga to take us on the first section of this training. Thank you.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. And I really appreciate you taking the time to actually join us today. And we actually welcome you to a long and engaging partnership. And we want to actually take this time to go through what the ICIT philosophy is about, getting to actually know ICIT and what we how we do business, what we deliver to our customers, and how we basically want to actually flow. How we want this partnership to actually flow, and the kind of core values that we want to actually embody with our with you being our partners. So who we are, if I know a lot of you already know who we are, but we want to actually kind of go through it again just to make sure that there is a clear understanding as to who we are and how we basically operate as a culture. So we basically what our main mission is to empower businesses to do more with less. We want them to basically achieve their most potential. We want them to reach their best potential by actually leveraging automation. Um, a good example of this will be Amazon. When Amazon actually first started out, they were basically doing everything manually. They were because they started Amazon actually started as a online store that actually sells books back in the 90s. And so Jeff Bezos was employee number one with his wife, and they will order books from all over the country and have it mailed to them, and they'll post this book, manually go in and post these books on their website, and based off of requests they get, they basically try to analyze what kind of books they kind of project what kind of books they actually need to basically have in stock. I, they were getting with this process basically as they grew was actually causing them to have a lot more issues that they didn't realize that about their business model. So they eventually had no choice but to start looking into how they can actually be more efficient. How can we predict what kind of books people will like based on our existing transactions? That was how Amazon actually got into analytics. I don't know if any one of us actually are here old enough to remember back in the early 2000s that Amazon was the first company that you can actually go in and shop on their website, and it will recommend books that you like or you may like based on books that you are buying. Or and eventually they basically saw the power of analytics and the power of automation, because they were able to actually leverage technology to be able to actually make it more efficient, because they already could tell they can actually see a pattern based off of their manual processes, that people as to what people will like, and that people are typically the same in general, that if you can actually group people's behavior into different segments, and based on segmenting people's behavior, they were able to actually leverage technology and say, hey, code or computer, if you see people basically behaving in this way, there's a high probability they're going to basically like the same they're going to like the same thing that this group of people like. So why don't you present all of the recommendations or the kind of books that this kind of people like to, or this kind of products to anyone who actually buys books in the same pattern as those group of people. And that's really what computers actually do best. Computers are are basically creatures of simplicity. They tend to own in on patterns, and they're able to actually develop on that patterns and actually make us humans more productive because they can actually sieve through those patterns a lot faster. So Amazon basically, this is really the what I call the success story of Amazon, because that old technology kind of propelled them into, hey, if we can do this very well with books and we can literally predict what kind of books that people will buy, and because we can predict people's behavior and the kind of books they like to read into the future, we can basically start stocking all, we can go out there, buy all kinds of books and actually stock it. And we know that we can actually get it out to the market before our competition. And they moved into other products with that same mentality and with that same type and with the same technology aiding them into other products. And their need for computing grew so much to where they basically said, hey, if we basically have a whole need of as much this much computing needs, we know there are going to be other people out there having those kind of needs. And that's how Amazon, the web services was born. And now they actually moved into Amazon, the AWS, and we know the rest of the story. And they pretty much have conquered the world now. And they are, I mean, Jeff Bezos is actually projected to actually going to be the first trillionaire in the world in the trajectory that AWS is actually going right now. So that's really the importance of automation in today's world. Everybody basically throw around, the term digital transformation. But that term is not just a term. It's actually a mentality, is a culture, is a belief. And we are here to actually help businesses achieve those goals and achieve those beliefs, actually live those beliefs, and not just actually have it as words that gets thrown around. Because the true definition of digital transformation is basically using digital aids, in the sense of actually digitizing your business processes and also infrastructure to deliver value to your customer. So it's not about digital transformation is actually turning technology and the concept of information technology on its head. It's actually saying it's not just another digitized system that you use to run your business as an expense, or just another pen and paper or another chair in your office. It's actually an investment. It's an ROI. You have to basically really, really, really look at information technology and your technology, so your IT in the general term, as an investment in that business. And if I invest 1 naira into my IT infrastructure, how much am I going to get back in? Not even ROI, is NOI. That's really, so we actually even pushing it past rate of return on investment. Is actually the net return on investment. That, okay, how are my computers, how is my IT department, IT making me money? And a lot of IT departments can't answer that, because the traditional IT has always been, hey, we are just here to keep the business running, to make sure that the business systems and their computers are basically running efficiently. So yeah, I mean, so they know. So it's kind of like the same way where people, your facility manager will basically tell you that, hey, I'm just here to make sure that the building is clean and your office is clean, and I'm fixing whatever is broken just to maintain the building. So I mean, IT has to basically move out of that realm of maintenance and expense to the business. IT needs to be part of the conversation in the boardroom. IT basically needs to be part of the business strategy, and actually the job of a successful IT solutions provider should be engaging with in the boardroom and with the C-suite, everyone in the MD, the HR director, and all of the executives, trying to basically understand what their strategy is and coming up with the tactic to actually help them achieve their strategy, and making sure that their IT is aligned with their business objectives. So it's that business IT alignment that really, really is critical for IT to actually be part of the engine of profitability to the modern business. And and that's really what ICIT is. We are the engine of profit profitability to our customers. We make sure that their IT is aligned with their business objective and a business strategy, and we try to basically deliver on that by actually deploying the tactics to make them successful, to give them that peace of mind, to give them that productivity, and to basically give them that profitability. So that's really where that's so that brings us to what we stand by. And the reason why we can stand by that is because we have effective, you know, uh, playbooks that we employ, that has been built over the years of our existence. We've been around since 2008. We actually started as Taylor Technology Solutions. That was what we did at the time, was just focused on understanding business processes and building software solutions to actually help drive the business processes in a more automated manner. And we evolved into business strategy over the years, and we actually evolved into other areas and we rebranded as ICIT Solutions in 2012. Um, so that's how, actually, take it back, we rebranded as ICIT Solutions in 2010. Um, and we've been here. We basically started out in the US, and we moved into the Nigerian market into 2018. And the mission, as stated, is we officially empowering business to achieve more with less using automation. I can even say, even though that's our core mission, we've gone further than that now. We just don't offer automation as the empowerment anymore. We also basically offer the concept of managed services now, where we just don't build automation for you. We also basically we can actually help you with your entire IT needs. We can basically be that IT department that you actually desire. So small businesses can actually get enterprise level IT support, on top of the fact that we are actually constantly engaging them and helping them and understanding how they run their business, so that we can actually help them deliver the tools that they need to automate their business processes. All right. So, making you the master of your minutes. So the main goal is, of every virtual company, as we know, is to basically generate as much profit as they can. It's all about profitability. But we all have 24 hours in a day. So that means that we have to deploy every minute within our business wisely to be productive, because if we are not deploying our time efficiently, we're not going to be as productive as we would like to be. And that's another area where ICIT basically excels, is we empower our clients to be more productive because of the fact that we help their employees to do more, to achieve more with less. They don't have to spend the time doing the mundane, because there's technology that we leverage to help them basically automate the mundane, so they don't have to worry about it. A good example of this is, we had a client that was a construction company, and they had a back office that just basically was extensive. They basically wanted to have their staff to be more efficient in the field, rather than basically filling out paperwork all the time. So one of the things that we did was we gave them iPads, and we built a solution that allowed them to be able to actually input all of this information that they were basically using, that was all manual before, in that iPad, so that they can collect all the information that they were collecting in the field that before. The only difference was they were basically writing it down, faxing it to the office, and someone in the office will have to type it into the system. And those systems weren't connected with other systems, so someone will have to basically then download it from one system to then go copy it into go input it into another system. So it was their system was a combination of a manual, digital process. But I'll have to basically say they were manual. When they actually even digitized, they were still digitizing the manual. That's really the way I felt. Like, they basically kind of, all they did was just take their current manual process and and basically transferred it into a computer and continued the same manual process. None of their systems were talking to each other, and they were basically wasting time every day, because the foreman in the field will basically waste his time to be able to actually to basically fill out all this paperwork and track all of his laborers' time on a construction project. Then he would then have to, at the end of the day, take this stack of paper, fax it to the office. The office will have to basically have a bunch of people that are going to take all this paper from all these projects that they have are working out in the field, and they will have to enter it into one system. And then whenever they want to basically generate a report to the customer, they will have to basically print it out and enter it into an Excel, and enter it into all these different Excel files, and then they will have to email that Excel file to different various customer project owners that they actually are working on. They were wasting about a combination, from a company perspective, they were wasting about over 25,000 hours in a quarter. That, from a business perspective. And you have to understand that these were construction companies that were basically billing average of $200 an hour. So if you multiply $200 by 25,000, that was how much they were basically wasting. And that was the obvious. If you actually look at the on what we call the sunk cost of actually not being productive, you have to multiply it, and you have to multiply it by 4. And which was really what ended up happening. Was you multiply by 4, they were actually literally wasting 100,000 hours, multiplied it by $200 an hour, and you pretty much have the amount of money that was actually getting wasted, because they weren't the masters of their minutes. So what we did was make them the master of their minutes. We basically automated all these processes and made sure that all these different systems were talking to each other. And in the case where there was no system for reporting, we built that off of an existing platform. So we basically deployed Microsoft solutions, and we basically made sure that we give them all those iPads, so they were, whenever the guys out in the field were actually working, were actually collecting the same data they were collecting before. They were just entering it into an iPad. And now it's actually faster because most of that data was already pre-filled. He doesn't have to fill out everything. He just have to basically click a bunch of button and drag lines. So it will take a typical foreman or project manager about, let's say, an hour and a half is a day to basically fill out all of this paperwork. Now it was taking him 10 minutes. And guess what? Whenever they push a button to basically send all this information back to the office before they will have to fax it, and it probably would take him about another 20 minutes to feed all this paperwork into the fax machine. Now it pushes a button. All of that goes back into the system. Nobody in the office have to actually type all of this because, and unfortunately, those people basically they didn't really lose their job. They just basically transferred them to other departments to do other things for the business. But they don't have to have all these people on the back end having to retype all of this information into the system because the information is now in the system. And we then now had integration to actually now take information from one system and there was a process that automatically shared that information with the other systems that needed it, to where all they have to do now to generate the same report that someone else used to basically have to go put in a USB in to download and actually go put it in Excel. And it took that person about 4 hours every day to do this. If on the every time, no, you didn't have to do it every day, but whenever you had to do this work, it took him about 4 hours. Now he doesn't have to do it at all because those reports were now ready online because we built another system that we basically now made accessible to their customers off of Microsoft, to where now they can actually log into that Microsoft site and they can Microsoft built sites, and they can actually look at all this report in real time. So we pretty much saved this company about $50 million based off of automating all of their systems and making them the masters of their minutes. It was money it was time that they were wasting because it was actually translating to money because they were paying people to do all of this work that was just a waste of time. So now they didn't have to pay all of these people. Now they have about $50 million in their pocket. And that was, and that's really a generalization of the numbers because it's confidential information, so I couldn't really give out the number that they actually saved. So I'm generalizing it, but you can understand how I hope my explanation and the work that we did for them is clear enough to see the power of automation and how you can actually go out there and actually engage your customers and make them the masters of their minutes and the result and the fruit of that effort. And that's really what I'm trying to convey with using what we did for that other company at the time. And we've done this for different companies. We've actually, and that was a major one. We've actually done it for other companies that I can even mention their names. They don't have a problem with me doing that. They are based in the U.S. They are active. The name of the company is called Island Homes, and they basically build. They are a construction company as well. They build homes, basically what we call in Nigeria estates, all over the west coast of America, from California all the way to Washington State. They wanted to basically expand at the time. They were only based in Washington State. They wanted to expand and parts of Oregon, and they wanted to expand into California and hopefully into Montana. They want to basically start growing, but they didn't have enough sales team to do that. They didn't want to basically start opening offices and hiring a bunch of people all over the place. It will have cost them another $2 million to basically expand. So we came up. So we basically built a tool for them that allowed them to go to existing real estate companies to to basically just to give them the power to engage their customers who want to build home and send them leads. So we automating that process for them, allow them to basically expand into California without having to basically have an office in California, because all they had to do was pick up one of the top real estate agents in California. What they have to do was pick up the sorry about that. So all they have to do was pick up the phone and engage, and call the top real estate agent in California, and just basically at that moment they were in business in California, because all their real estate agent had to do was just engage anybody that actually is looking to build custom homes, because they didn't actually they basically were selling, they only sold already homes that were already built, and basically putting a request in the system, and based off of the results, that based off of the criterias that oh, excuse me, it looks like someone might have a question. Was anyone trying to ask a question? Because my question thing here was beaming.
No, I don't think so. Just
Okay.
you can go ahead.
Okay, I just want to make sure. All right, so back to what I was saying. So if anyone wanted to buy a house in California, build a house in California, and it was going to be a good fit for island homes, they just basically all they had to do was basically put in the request in the system. We basically pick it up, and it seamlessly basically goes through the entire CRM process. We actually integrated with their CRM as well. It actually goes right into their CRM automatically, and it flows right into their pipeline. And all of the other systems that they actually have was all automated. So it was just as if it was just as if they were already part of those real estate agents was already part of their ecosystem. So they didn't have to spend the $1 or $2 million that they needed to basically expand into California and Montana at the time. I think California, Montana, Idaho at the time. They can keep that $2 million, and also they were basically now growing and using the same amount of resources that they had that they previously had. And now demand was actually driving their needs, basically their resource needs. So if they actually have a house they have to build in California, now they basically get to send a project manager to that location, to that site, and they can actually start hiring people in California to basically help them with that project. So that's another example of how we basically can help our clients actually manage their minutes. So now we want to talk about, and this looks like the end of my presentation. We're basically going to be talking about all the products and how we can help because I don't want to say your customers, because eventually your customers are going to be our customers as well. So it's really our customers, because we're in this together to actually help them achieve efficiency. And that's that's really how it's done. Really, it's the goal is to, no matter how small that business is, there's always tools out there to help them automate and help them grow. And every single business out there is basically being forced to digitally transform. The market is actually driving it now. Customers are asking for it. Um, er, the days of people basically feeling they can do business as usual is over. Nobody feels that way anymore, no matter how small they are. Everyone is looking for ways to basically grow and to actually survive or even outlive the competition. And digital transformation is it. I mean, that's that's just that's how we do it. And I'll even go as far as saying that's it. It's not even a matter of how we do it, is the why. It is what it is. And we have a lot of, back when we first started, we used to basically build a lot of systems from scratch. Over time, we wised up and actually understood that, hey, that's very expensive. And a lot of business, you know, uh, there's a lot of business basically that just can't afford to build, to actually build to build systems from scratch. So they just really the capex, the capital expense is not there. So we then just changed our strategy in 2016, and we decided it will make sense for us to start partnering with reputable companies. They already have systems in place that we can then offer to our customers, and we can build, because all of the systems out of the box are of what we call off the commercial off the shelf products are not going to have everything that a business needs. Every business is unique. That's just the reality. So we need to be able to actually have a way where we basically don't have to build it from scratch. So we can get you something to get you going, and only have to build the specific workflow or automation that you need within that system. And that strategy has been very successful for us. From small business to big business, or over the last few years, we've done a lot of customization and automation within the Zoho realm, Dynamics 365, NetSuite, and we just partnered with Odoo, and we're looking forward to basically do a lot of automation there, where we just basically take there we basically identify what kind of automation they have, out of the box, and the ones that they don't have out the box, and we just focus on automating the deltas, which is the ones that they don't have. So Microsoft has a lot of great products. Office 365 actually has a lot of it's not, even though it's a productivity tool in the sense that everybody basically has to have Word, Excel, and all of that stuff. Excel is not what I'll say my older brother's Excel, because I can say my grandmother's Excel or my grandfather's Excel, because I mean technology moves so fast. A generation in the world of technology is basically 2 years. That so the new Excel basically is just packed with opportunities to basically automate. um, and there's something that Microsoft basically has called Microsoft Flow, and where you have what you call Power Apps now that a lot of small business can engage in by just signing up for Office 365 Basic. And Office 365 Basic is the one that basically is less than 2,000 naira a month, and you can really do a lot of great things with that. And I mean, for 2,000 naira a month, you can, and a small business basically can have a lot of, it basically have a lot of automation possibilities or capabilities in their hands. Um, it's another one that I want to actually kind of use as an example is SharePoint, and that comes with the $2,000 a month service, Microsoft M365 Basic, or plan as well. And SharePoint has been the game changer for a lot of enterprise, especially back in the early 2000s. A lot of, I mean, I've been part of teams that actually spent tens of millions of dollars in implementing SharePoint solutions back in, the early 2000s. That's how serious, a lot of corporations actually took SharePoint implementation. Now the small business has the same power. Now the small business can act as the same abilities that the enterprise or the big boys in their industry have. What I basically, what I believe is that the cloud has democratized technology. The cloud has actually made it into where, hey, you don't get, just because you have more money than me doesn't mean you're going to have a better technology than me. A lot of small business space, one of the things that I hear from, a lot of small business is, they think they use it as an objection, but it's really, but it's really not an objection. It's really what they believe, that, hey, I can't afford all of this technology stuff. They feel like digital transformation is way beyond their reach, but it's really not. It's our job to basically educate them and help them to see that no matter how small they are, if it's just a one-man business, you can afford to digitize your business. You can afford to automate your business. And it's not as expensive. The cloud has made it easy. The cloud has made it cheap and affordable. And one of the ways that we actually help them, and one of the value add, and the major, actually, I'll say this is the major value add that we actually bring to the table for our customers, no matter how small or big that they are, is we first understand their business. We understand their pain points. We understand their struggles. We try to basically understand it. And based on our understanding of it, we can help them identify products that is actually going to be the best fit for them based on their needs and their situation. And also help them identify ways we can help them automate their processes as well, because we understand their business. And that's, you know, that's really how we kind of help evolve with them, because we help them get to the point where we can gradually transform their business and drive their business with automation. And we just don't actually leave them hanging once we get there. It's like, okay, we are at the end of the road now. You are now digitally transformed. So bye bye, see you later. We're still around to help them support and maintain the solutions that we actually build for them, and or we even recommend for them. So if we basically, whatever we sell, we implement, we support, and we support by, internally, we support by escalation. And that's really our business life cycle. We advise, we basically understand your business to understand exactly what your needs are, that, through our advisory services. We advise you on the best platform there's going to be the best need for your business according to your budget. We then sell those licenses to you. Once we sell the licenses, we now help them implement whatever automation they need or support to make sure they can actually start using the system that we've just sold to them. And we are here also there to support them. Is this, and if there's any issue, if we don't have the talent to support it in-house, we get the OEM involved. We have a direct line to Microsoft, metaphorically speaking. But we do have a direct line to them, literally. We basically pick up the phone and we call our Microsoft Sam, Sam, and he's responsible to basically get our customers whatever they need from within the Microsoft ecosystem. So our products. So we're going to actually go through a little bit of our products and what we basically offer and the kind of support that we offer around those products. and and also the kind of and any way, and if there's any way we can actually help our customers within the realm of these products. We'll also basically talk about the channels that we actually we actually have available, where to do that. So we have a great relationship with Microsoft. I personally used to work at Microsoft. A lot of these products that you actually see are, I remember when they were actually building it, some of the teams, I was actually part of those teams, or I was actually not far from, I was actually not far from the guys that were actually building this. I remember SharePoint when SharePoint 2010, the team that actually built it were I used to pass by their office all the time, and we collaborated on other projects that I actually worked on at the time as well. So these products are dear to us. We basically are, we are very, very I'll say we basically fanatical when it comes to supporting and implementing solutions on these products. We love these products, and I'll say the same for our other vendors as well. But it's just that Microsoft has a special place in our hearts in in ICIT. Yeah, that'll be the way to put it. Office 365, is a great product for productivity for small business. Very affordable. I know I know in Nigeria price is really, really something that people care about, but I would love for us to basically not look at the price but the value, because the problem is, if a lot of the businesses basically say, hey, this is too expensive, and they keep doing things the way that they're doing it, that is too expensive. Not automating is too expensive. Not actually having an efficient tool to be able to run a business is too expensive. This is cheap. And the question they should be asking themselves is, hey, if I spend this 2,000 naira or 5,000 naira per user a month on a Microsoft plan, what do I get out of it? How does it help my business grow? And that's where we come in. That's our job, is to basically show them how they can actually grow, and how they can be more efficient, and how they can digitally transform their business with these tools. These tools are not, these tools don't belong in the expense column. They belong in the asset column of their balance sheet. They belong in the profit section of their profit and loss statement, because that's what these tools are, is to make them more profitable, is to give them the peace of mind that they are running on a stable business. Kind of like the enterprise mobility suite is, Microsoft spent $2 billion on a cybersecurity platform to allow, and they turn around and they sell it for basically 4,000. The most expensive is actually 3,000, 5,000 naira a month, to basically, but the cheapest is about I think 1,500 naira a month, to and that is actually enterprise world class cybersecurity protection that you get in, that's giving you the peace of mind that one of the most powerful corporations in the world is protecting your systems, and you don't have to worry about Yahoo boys basically breaking into your system. It's and those are the kind of conversations that we need to have with our clients. you know that's really what this training is going to really focus on, is to help us articulate how this products benefits our clients. So I think that my time is about up. Onye, please correct me if I'm wrong. I think is I'm actually I think I'm 4 minutes
Yeah.
out, right?
Yes.
Okay. So 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 I think Yomi is coming. Yomi is going to be next, right? Or
Yeah,
do I have?
Alex can go ahead with the Microsoft products. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Alex. I guess I'll turn it over to Oyinye, who's really going to turn it to Alex, over to Alex. But before I leave, though, I would like to see if anyone has any questions for me. I really appreciate questions. I know I've actually said a lot, but at this time, we are really here to support you. And what I've said, really, I hope I've communicated that in everything that I've said. But really, what matters is you all basically getting what you need out of all of what I've said. So the floor is open to questions, and I really appreciate if we can we can start getting some questions, so we can actually engage and be more. We can get more. We can kind of get the answers that you need to you.
Hello, my hand is up.
Okay. Sorry about that. Let me see okay, it looks like
Is Mr. Adekunle.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Adekunle.
All right, thank you, Kamar, for the presentation. It's quite I mean, normally when you stay on presentations this long, people just drift away, but this was quite interesting. So I like it. It's good.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. You spoke about the business circle that you do with clients, advisory, sell licenses, implement, and support. So, for example, Office 365, I say for small businesses that can do about, I don't know, say between about 2,000 a month, if I'm correct.
Yes.
These other processes of implement and support, is it covered in the 2,000 a month or 2,000 a month just for the license? Is there a cost to support?
Yes, there's a cost to support, and we're going to cover that later. We're going to cover that in details later, but there is a cost to support, and it depends. We actually have there's cost to implementation, and and let me revise. We have different levels of support. There are some basics level of support that really doesn't cost anything. It comes as part of the subscription. And if you want ongoing support where you want to actually be able to engage us at a deeper level, where you actually want us to basically support you in the sense that you want us to do everything for you, then that's where it comes at a cost. But if you just want to be able to ask questions, or you want guidance or direction, you will always get that from us.
Oh, okay.
Because we have clients that basically just buy the license, but they just want to be able to actually pick up the phone or email and ask us questions, and have us teach them how to do things, or direct them to resources that they can use to actually do what they need to do. We don't charge for that kind of support. And we have customers that basically want us to basically do everything for them. They want to be able to call us, for example, hey, I need to be able to actually add a workflow to my SharePoint. No problem. We'll do it for you. And that's where there's a cost. You have to be on a support plan to be able to actually have us do that for you. But if you just want us to show you how to do it, that won't be a problem. We'll send you a link on how to do it. We might even be able to actually walk you through some steps, and you will then go take it from there, and you will basically add those workflows yourself. And we don't charge for that. So I hope that's clear.
Yeah, it's clear. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, we're still gonna have a question and answer session later on. So maybe let's just talk about the products, and then we'll cover more questions